So in 2026, we're in an age where a lot of people understand that things are becoming more and more unaffordable. We're in a day and age where looking good on social media, to a degree to most people, matters more than the way that their standard of living actually is moving. And with this being the context of society today, and subsequently the context of this video, I have a different message related to money, a different message related to life. Now, me personally, I've always been somebody interested in trying to accumulate money. I run my own businesses. I am trying to essentially get rich. I'm not going to lie about that. That is a big ambition for me. But at the same time, one thing in my mind over the last year particularly has changed. Now, I've always known, and many of you already may know this, or you may not, that things don't give you happiness. Alongside this, when you get these things, whether it is financial things, to a degree, whether it is some life things, a lot of the time it doesn't change your outlook on life or your actual internal feelings at all. And then what we end up with subsequently is people chasing for the next thing. So, for example, if you have no car, you might want to get a car. Then you might want to get a premium brand. So you go from having a basic runaround to now having a Mercedes. But then you can have a Rolls Royce, but then you can have a Lamborghini, but then you can have a Bugatti. And the list can go on forever, right, to a degree. And this is the same with houses. This is the same with especially jewelry, watches, clothes. This is the way that most people live in 2025 into 2026. It's the way a lot of people live. And it's actually quite funny, but we already know this. These are the things keeping most people trapped. Now, I am of the belief that money that you enjoy wasting is probably not a waste of money entirely. So if you are genuinely a car fan, and it's always made you happy to have that, I don't know, E30 BMW, that's fine, right? I think that is fine if you can afford it. However, most people aren't in that position. They have this car or new cars for a flex. They have luxury living because it's something that they feel promised or perhaps deserving of. But in a day and age where many people hate their job, many people don't entirely realize that these are a lot of the things keeping them trapped. I was talking to some friends the other day about this related to my specific life and my moves going forwards. Now, the thing about me, guys, is I'm not really bothered entirely about these flashy things. I would love a Lamborghini, but I'm not bothered if I don't have one. What matters to me a lot more is having my freedom, having my independence, and having my sense of genuine self-worth. And I understand that deep down, none of these things come from financial assets or financial milestones. Not for the most part. So, the question that I get from people day to day is, if you run your own business, if you make X amount of money, why do you have a 30-year-old car? If you make X amount of money, why do you want to go and live in this city, not this city, right? Because, and the answer to these things, and this is where the application comes, and this is where it can apply to all you guys. It depends on what you want to pay for. And I don't mean this in financial terms. Everyone looks at this in financial terms. I don't think it's that simple. We all pay rent for something in some way. So, for example, how can I word this in a way that makes sense? You might have a cheap house, right, in a worse part of town or a worse town. The price that you pay for that is financially less, but it may be that you are in a worse area. It may be worse. It may, so the cost might be cheaper financially, but it may, to a degree, have a financial cost, in other ways, or a mental cost in other ways. Then you've got other people who will have a very, very nice house, financially it's expensive, but also they have to work all the time, so it's time expensive because they don't have any free time. They are wasting all their money, so they're stressed all the time, they're not making progress. And this is the thing. What do you wish to pay for in 2026? And I don't mean this financially, guys. I really don't. I mean this in regards to everything. Financially is a big part of it, but I mean this in regards to everything. What do you value? What do you want to spend your time and your money on? Does it make sense for you to spend £500 a month on a car lease for a car that you don't care that much about? Does it make sense for you to have a luxury apartment when your rent covers 60 or 70% of your entire income? And if the answer is yes, great. That's absolutely fine. No issues with that at all. I think that's absolutely fine. But if the answer is no, and if you're the sort of person who hates working all the time, the sort of person who hates the financial stress of the high price of living, right? There are certain saviors. And the first one is just rejecting, in my opinion, the materialistic, consumerist mindset that is pushed onto us today. We're told to buy everything, but to be honest, guys, it doesn't change very much. What really changed a lot for me is truly gaining freedom. And this means a lot of things to a lot of different people, but to me, just to sum this up so you can understand where I'm coming from, it means having time freedom, it means having locational freedom, it means having freedom of choice because you can choose what you do with your time and when you do it. These are the things that to me are, at the moment at least, and my view on these things can change. I'm not going to say it won't. Maybe in 2 years I'll look back and say this is not what I think anymore. That's fine. But to me now, these things are much more important than driving around in a brand new car or living in a really expensive area of town. I'm more than happy to sacrifice those things and keep my free time, keep my happiness, keep my, to a degree, mental health, all of these things, and also keep my ability to grow, because all of these people, especially financially, who are on the edge of what they can afford, they're not creating a future for themselves. They're actually doing the opposite. They are costing themselves, they're paying up front for things that they can barely afford, and subsequently they are not saving. A lot of the money that I make goes straight into savings. So I save that money, and then when the time's right, all of these nice things will come, right? Because there's a plan, because there's a background, because there's a strategy. And if you start off or perhaps approach life with these things, not only do you relieve some of the stress which comes with being in the consumerist mindset, not only do you sort of revoke a lot of the one-upmanship, but you also gain a lot more clarity on what matters more to you in your life. And really, guys, I think that is much more valuable than any of these other things which is being told to us or being shown to us that we should want. So you may agree with this, you may not. Of course, that's fine either way. But I just wanted to share my thoughts on this, guys. Thank you for your time, and goodbye for now. Oh, and also, do make sure to subscribe if you did enjoy the video, because I do appreciate all the support. But yeah, thank you guys, and goodbye for now.